Still got her, young gang.
They just had a nap too.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, I was working on the video, and I mean, you were over there catching up on the Z's.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
What?
We're in our new setup, and I have to say, I think the recording is going to be a lot easier for the podcast stuff. So
Yeah, because we're further away.
but yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons about it.
I know.
But for you heathens today, we're going to learn about the Bible. Are you ready to learn about the Bible?
Oh, you going to teach me about the Bible?
I'm going to teach you about the Bible.
Okay.
All right.
I'm listening.
Okay. If you guys don't remember last time on the Bible, Jerry had 3 bitch fits spread out across time. They didn't happen like consecutively, like one right after another. He was just really bitchy a few days. But anyways, he had a few bitch fits against Judah and Jerusalem, which culminated in God writing the moral law code down into everyone's hearts. Well, all the Israelites. So it's just on all the Israelites' hearts, not like everybody in the world and all throughout time. It's just Israelite people that he's written this moral law on their hearts. And then he establishes a new covenant with them. So that's what happened last time.
Fun.
I know. God then tells Ezekiel to
Oh, we're back to Ezekiel.
yes,
Okay.
we are. God tells Ezekiel to connect with all of the assholes that have been picking on Judah and Jerusalem. He tells them to concentrate on them. So I'm guessing like maybe meditate or something. I hope he doesn't shit himself while he does it. But it ends up, the culmination of all this concentration is the Ammonites are to be given over to the Asians for reasons. The Moabites are also going to be sold to the Asians like cattle. God is going to senselessly murder a bunch of Edomite men, like all the Edomite, most of the Edomite men that I think can wave a sword or something. Anyways, he's going to kill a bunch of people over in Edom, and it's for vengeance reasons, obviously.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's why God doesn't, I mean, well, I don't know. God doesn't need like vengeance reasons. He just sometimes kills people for the hell of it. The Phillies, the Philistines, they're going to get killed too. So everybody's getting killed today.
Yeah.
Or at least I think this is just Eazy-E threatening it. So imagine a naked old guy in the middle of the town square yelling about how everybody's going to die. And then Sauron, I mean, God turns his gaze upon Egypt. And obviously he's doing this because Egypt has the biggest dicks in the land.
That's true. That was actually in the Bible.
Yeah. What he's going to do to them is something very special. I'm guessing he's got a lot of dick envy. But apparently he's going to place hooks in their jaws, just like he caught them as if they were fish.
Weird.
And then fish are going to, I guess, like stick to them. I don't know if like the fish are going to jump out of the river and stick to each and every
I bet you what happened is they got vaccinated and so they were magnetic.
Are fish magnetic? Yes, they are. In the Bible, fish are magnetic. So anyways, he magnetizes all the Egyptians, and then that causes all the fish to stick to the Egyptians. And then God is going to use his, like, you know, those magnetic, like, crane things that they use in junkyards? Mm-hmm. God's going to get a massive one of those, right? And he's going to place it over Egypt, and he's going to suck all of them up, right? Since they're magnetized due to the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And then he is going to swing it around and place them in the middle of the desert. And then the vultures are going to eat their balls.
That sounds horrific.
Yeah. Well, for the women, I guess it'll just be titties or something. I don't know. But the vultures are going to consume them. Okay. Anyways, he then, for some reason, after dropping them off in the desert, he shames them for being shitty to the Jews before I guess he leaves. Anyways, after that horrific scene, God is going to make Egypt desolate for about 40 years. Also, he's going to destroy that shit.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Then the Egyptians will be brought back, like after the 40-year period.
Mhm.
Egyptians are going to get brought back to Egypt, but they'll all be plebes for eternity. Eternal plebage.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Then God laments, or as Webster's defines it, has a bitch fit for Egypt. He basically says that Egypt is doomed, all their allies will fall, and God is going to destroy Egypt with Babylon because they all have really big dicks. And God hates people with a bigger dick than him.
It's really weird that he's like, I'm going to destroy all of you. And he's like, seems really pumped about destroying all of them. And then he mourns about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. Anyway, Eazy-E then bitches out the Pharaoh, and God then snaps his arms in two. Both of them individually snaps them. Like fucking toothpicks.
This guy's crazy as fuck.
Yeah, the Pharaoh was a scrawny bitch, so it probably didn't take much, but you know.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, God is going to cut down Egypt like he did Syria, but he tells them this in a really weird way by comparing them to like a cedar. I don't know. God seems to get a really big hard-on for cedars here. I don't know if he's one of them tree fucker gods or what, but apparently he gets really excited about cedar trees.
There are tree fucker gods? That's a thing?
There are people now that love to fuck trees. I don't know why there can't be a god out there that likes to fuck trees too.
Okay.
I mean, they don't call it Mother Earth for nothing.
I mean, no, but I don't think it has anything to do with fucking trees.
You don't know.
I don't. You're right. That's true. I don't.
And then to culminate the Bible study today, God is going to cast the Egyptians aside like, I can't read my writing right here.
Assyria.
He's going to cast them he's going to cast them aside like he does with the uncut dick people.
Oh, Assyrians.
Oh, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's not only Assyrians that would be uncut.
No, not only. That's true, not only. So I guess just with everybody, I don't understand his obsession with cutting dick. That's just super weird.
Can you imagine like how he's going to check for that? It's like, hey, let me see your dick. If anybody asks to see your dick, don't show them and call the police. And that's going to be it for the Bible podcast today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Y'all learned something. Don't piss God off or he'll snap your arms and cut your dick off.
Sounds super fun.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to like do the rest of the podcast.
We're definitely going to do it. Let's.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. What's up, heathens?
How y'all doing?
Well, obviously, I got some things wrong. I mean, it's definitely not the big dick part. The Egyptians definitely have big dicks.
That's definitely true. Yeah. It was definitely in the Bible.
So, but apparently I might have like gotten the definition of lament wrong, maybe, or something.
You might have embellished some things here and there. Typical. We take a couple weeks off to move and we're back at it and it's the same old shit with G.
Yeah. All right, honey. Well, I am just going to let you take it from here because I know that we got a little bit to go through today. And
we do.
I will try not to be too distracting.
You're the entertaining part, though.
Oh, am I?
Yeah. I mean, I think you're the entertaining part.
Oh, okay. That's all that matters, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we are going to jump back into Ezekiel from Jeremiah. And Jeremiah, he's prophesying already in Judah. And Ezekiel is prophesying to the people of Babylon who have been, well, not the people of Babylon, the Judeans in Babylon who have been taken captive. Remember, he's there with those people. So God gives him prophecies for them. But in this portion, we're going to get prophecies that are specifically meant for their judgments against Israel's enemies, right? So against the different nations that are enemies to Israel. So that's what we're going to get today. And we're going to get a lot of fucking judgment.
Right. And just to keep in mind, these are the people that God previously had paid off to sort of like be mercenaries and fuck up the Israelites.
Yes.
They were compelled to do that by God.
Yes.
And now God is going to punish them for following what he told them to do.
Yeah. And he told the Israelites he was going to punish them for doing it, even though he was making them do it.
Yeah, this seems like really, like, this is fucked up.
It's convoluted.
It's a mind fuck. I love that phrase because it definitely goes with the theme of
it characterizes this well, for sure. It characterizes this well. So are you ready to just jump in?
Oh, fuck yeah. Let's get into the the deep end.
Okay, so the first judgment is against Ammon. And that we're starting in Ezekiel 25. We're going to skip from 25, I think, to maybe 29 or a little bit. And then we're going to do all the judgments against the places and the Pharaoh together. So it's 25, 29, 30, and 31 in Ezekiel.
You know, they organized this so well that we've got to jump around chapters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this book is far more organized than the Bible.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Okay. So Ezekiel 25 is where we're starting. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against the Ammonites and prophesy against them. Say to them, hear the words of the sovereign Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says. Because you said, aha, over my sanctuary when it was desecrated, and over the land of Israel when it was laid waste, and over the people of Judah when they went into exile. Therefore, I am going to give you to the people of the east as a possession. They will set up their camps and pitch their tents among you. They will eat your fruit and drink your milk. I will turn Rabbah into a pasture for camels and Ammon into a resting place for sheep. Then you will know that I am Lord.
They're going to pitch their tents?
They're going to pitch tents. Yep. The people of the east are going to pitch tents in Ammon.
Okay.
Yep.
I will contain myself, but...
I feel like your comment is you not containing yourself.
It's incredibly difficult when they're talking about... Anyways, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Is it hard?
Very hard.
For this is what the sovereign Lord says, because you have clapped your hands and stamped your feet, rejoicing with all the malice of your heart against the land of Israel. Therefore, I will stretch out my hand against you and give you as plunder to the nations. I will wipe you out from among the nations and exterminate you from the countries. I will destroy you, and you will know that I am Lord. So it seems like here that they're being punished, not because they did what he compelled them to do, but because they rejoiced in doing it. They were happy and they celebrated and they had malice in their hearts towards the Israelites.
I mean, wait a second. How do you do all the fucked up shit that they did to the Israelites and not have malice in your hearts already?
I do not know.
I'm so thoroughly confused by God. It is like, wait a second. I said destroy them. I didn't say be happy about it.
Yeah.
Also, you love them while you kill them, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because they're his people, right?
Yeah, apparently. I don't know. This is, again, another mind fuck. Like, how am I supposed to... You're
trying to find like reason and logic in the actions, in God's actions here, and there just isn't any.
I got it.
Okay, so we're done with Ammon. They're going to be destroyed. Fuck them, right?
Oh, yes. Fuck them.
Okay, let's move on to... We're going to fuck them up in 7 verses, right? So Next, we're moving on to Moab, and we're going to fuck them up in fewer verses. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is what the sovereign Lord says, because Moab and Seir said, look, Judah has become like all the other nations. Therefore, I will expose the flank of Moab, beginning at its frontier towns, Beth Jeshimoth, Baal Meon, and Kiriathaim. Mm-hmm. That's what it says. The glory of that land.
Hey, you pronounce that a whole lot better than I would have.
Well, it's even the last one is like at the end of a end of a page. Well, not the end of a page, but like the end of a line. So the word is split, so it's even harder to figure out how to pronounce it because it's already fucked up. Okay. I will give Moab along with the Ammonites to the people of the east as a possession, so that the Ammonites will not be remembered among the nations, and I will inflict my punishment on Moab, and they will know that I am Lord. So he's punishing them so they know he's God. This makes no sense, but okay, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to do the same thing to Moab that he's doing to Ammon, and give them over to the people of to the people of the east as a possession.
Right.
Okay, Edom. We're going to fuck them up in 2 verses. We're getting more efficient here, right?
Yeah.
This is what the sovereign Lord says, because Edom took revenge on Judah and became very guilty by doing so. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will stretch out my hand against Edom and kill both man and beast. I will lay it waste, and from Teman to Dedan they will fall by the sword. I will take vengeance on Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they will deal with Edom in accordance with my anger and wrath. They will know my vengeance, declares the sovereign Lord.
So there's Edom, Tedum, and Dedum.
Edom, Teman.
Teman?
Well, Teman and Dedan are, I believe, cities in Edom.
Oh. So like Eden's a whole county.
Edom is a nation.
Oh. Okay.
And Teman and Dedan.
Dedan.
Or Teman and Dedan. I don't really know. Dedan. It's Dedan.
He did him. Okay, I don't know. I was laughing over how I guess fed up whoever was naming this shit. It's
and
like,
they all rhyme.
Yeah, it's like Edom.
Edom, Teman, Dedan. Yeah.
Everything has to end in OM. Okay, guys.
Well, Edom is OM. Teman and Dedan are AN.
Oh, AN?
AN.
Okay.
So OM is Edom. Teman and Dedan are AN.
That's weird. Maybe it's just the sound that they liked.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Maybe their language kind of lend itself to that. I don't know. Anyways.
I don't know.
God's mad because Edom took revenge on Judah. And so they're guilty. And so they're going to be laid waste. And he's actually going to kill both man and beast here. He didn't say that about the other places, but he did say it here.
Okay.
Now we're going to move on to the Philistines, okay? This is what the sovereign Lord says, because the Philistines acted in vengeance and took revenge with malice in their hearts and with ancient hostility sought to destroy Judah. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am about to stretch out my hand against the Philistines, and I will wipe out the Kerethites and destroy those remaining along the coast. I will carry out great vengeance on them and punish them in my wrath. Then they will know that I am Lord when I take vengeance on them. The whole point is so that he proves to them he's God.
Right. I like how it's ancient.
I know.
Like
ancient hostility.
Ancient hostility.
Yeah.
It's like I'm calling upon my great grandfather. I will fuck you up.
Well, there's a lot of bad blood between, Israel and the Philistines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this goes back. This goes way back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's calling on that for sure. Now, he was really efficient with how he was going to, how he said he was going to fuck everybody up real quick, got right to the point. But then there's Egypt.
Oh, fuck no. Not Egypt. Those
and we're going to go
dick
through
motherfuckers.
We're going to go through the judgment of Egypt, and it's going to take a bit, right?
Okay.
Because he's really mad at Egypt.
Of course.
In the 10th year, in the 10th month, on the 12th day, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, set your face against Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and prophesy against him and against all Egypt. Speak to him and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, you great monster lying among your streams. You say, the Nile belongs to me. I made it for myself. But I will put hooks in your jaws and make the fish of your streams stick to your scales. I will pull you out from among your streams with all the fish sticking to your scales. I will leave you in the desert. You and all the fish of your streams. You will fall on the open field and not be gathered or picked up. I will give you as food to the beasts of the earth and the birds of the sky. Then all who live in Egypt will know that I am Lord. This is kind of fucked up.
So, I mean, I'm sorry, but unless you, God, are going to visibly stand there in your Zeus outfit and do this, nobody is going to know that it was you that did it. I mean, it could have been any God if you're not going to show yourself.
That's a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He continues, you have been a staff of reed for the people Israel. When they grasped you with their hands, you splintered and you tore open their shoulders when they leaned on you. You broke their backs. And their backs were wrenched. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will bring a sword against you and kill both man and beast. Egypt will become a desolate wasteland. Then they will know that I am Lord. Because you said, the Nile is mine, I made it. Therefore, I am against you and against your streams. And I will make the land of Egypt a ruin and a desolate waste from Migdol to Aswan, as far as the border of Cush. The foot of neither man nor beast will pass through it. No one will live there for 40 years. I will make the land of Egypt desolate among devastated lands, and her cities will lie desolate for 40 years among ruined cities. And I will disperse the Egyptians among nations and scatter them through the countries. So it seems like he's pissed off at the damn streams. Like he's pissed off at water. He's mad because the king of Egypt, Pharaoh, right? That he claimed that he made things that God, of course, made, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's mad that he's taking credit, and he's like, I'll show you, right?
I mean, it makes total sense for God to be, this envious of their dicks.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there's actually not anything in archaeological history that would support the idea that no one was in Egypt for a 40-year span at any point in time.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see how they're going to justify that. You ready to continue?
Yeah.
Okay. Yet this is what the sovereign Lord says. At the end of 40 years, I will gather the Egyptians from the nations where they were scattered. I will bring them back from captivity and return them to Upper Egypt, the land of their ancestry. They will be a lowly kingdom. It will be the lowliest of kingdoms and will never again exalt itself above other nations. I will make it so weak that it will never again rule over other nations. Egypt will no longer be a source of confidence for people of Israel, but it will be a reminder of their sin in turning to her for help. Then they will know that I am the sovereign Lord. So he's going to bring Egypt back after he destroys it and leaves it desolate for 40 years. He's going to bring the Egyptians back, but he's going to, like John said, they're going to be plebes forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly, it's modern language, but I mean, that's what he meant.
Yeah.
But I think that it's kind of like, it's really weird that he's like, I'm going to send y'all away and all your shit's going to collect dust and get moldy and shit. And then I'm going to bring you back.
Well, I mean, I don't think their shit's going to collect dust because he's probably going to send people to take it.
Oh, you think
which I
so?
think we're about to get into.
Well, I guess I just meant like their houses are going to get all dusty and shit. Like, I don't know.
Honey, they're in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
Their shit's already dusty.
Okay, good point.
Perpetual dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so for some reason, God kind of seems to relish in the fact that he's going to destroy these big-dicked Egyptians. But then he's going to, in the very next chapter, lament over the fact that it's happening. It's very bizarre, but we're going to continue into the lament for Egypt.
Is the lament like a bitch fit or something? Like he just sort of starts bitching about it, or?
Well, I mean, I'm getting ready to read it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. The word of the Lord came to me. Me is Ezekiel, right? Son of man, prophesy and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Wail and say, alas for that day, for the day is near. A day of the Lord is near, a day of clouds, a time of doom for the nations. A sword will come against Egypt, and anguish will come upon Cush. When the slain fall in Egypt, her wealthy will be carried away, her foundations torn down. Cush and Libya, Lydia and all Arabia, Cub and the people of the covenant land will fall by the sword along with Egypt. This is what the Lord says. The allies of Egypt will fall, and her proud strength will fail. From Migdol to Aswan, they will fall by the sword within her, declares the sovereign Lord. They will be desolate among desolate lands. Their cities will lie among ruined cities. They will know that I am Lord, when I set fire to Egypt and all her helpers are crushed. So not only is he going to destroy Egypt, he's going to destroy all of their allies.
Yeah.
And anybody who might help them.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's really wanting to fuck them up, huh?
Yes, he really hates Egypt. On that day, messengers will go out from me in ships to frighten Cush out of her complacency. Anguish will take hold of them on the day of Egypt's doom, for it is sure to come. This is what the sovereign Lord says. I will put an end to the hordes of Egypt by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. He and his army, the most ruthless of nations, will be brought in to destroy the land. They will draw their swords against Egypt and fill the land with the slain. They will dry up the waters of the Nile and sell the land to an evil nation. By the hand of foreigners, I will lay waste to the land and everything in it. I, the Lord, have spoken. So I just want to I want to point out something important because it's going to come into play later.
Okay.
He says here that he's going to bring in Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, and his army to do this deed, right? To destroy Egypt.
Right. So Babylon's going to destroy and fuck Egypt up. I got it.
Yes, but not just Babylon at any time. Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, and his army.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, he's going to lay waste to everything. I, the Lord, have spoken, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what the sovereign Lord says. I will destroy the idols and put an end to the images in Memphis. So he's going to come to Tennessee. No longer. Kid. No longer will there be a prince in Egypt, and I will spread fear throughout the land. I will lay waste Upper Egypt, set fire to Zoan, and inflict punishment on Thebes. I will pour out my wrath on Pelusium, the stronghold of Egypt, and wipe out the hordes of Thebes. I will set fire to Egypt. Pelusium will writhe in agony. Thebes will be taken by storm. Memphis will be in constant distress. The young men of Heliopolis and Bubastis will fall by the sword, and the cities themselves will go into captivity. Dark will be the day at Tapanhes. I think it's Tapanhes. When I break the yoke of Egypt. There her proud strength will come to an end. She will be covered with clouds, and her village will go into captivity. So I will inflict punishment on Egypt, and they will know that I am Lord.
You know, Pelusium sounds like a radioactive element that we just haven't discovered yet.
It does.
It's either that or it's like some kind of like concert that's put on, like Lollapalooza.
Yeah, Pelusium. That sounds funny. Okay, so that whole thing. We needed all of that against Egypt.
Oh wow!
You know, we just had a few verses against the rest of them, but that we had all that for Egypt. But he's not done because now he has a specific judgment against Pharaoh.
Uh-oh. Okay.
In the 11th year, in the first month, on the 7th day, the word of the Lord came to me, Ezekiel, Son of man, I have broken the arm of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. It has not been bound up to be healed or put in a splint so that it may become strong enough to hold a sword. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against Pharaoh, king of Egypt. I will break both his arms, the good arm as well as the broken one, and make the sword fall from his hand. So this motherfucker is going to break both this guy's arms and like break again the broken arm because he's savage as fuck. He sounds like a mob boss.
He really does. And I mean, I guess this is so that he can't fight back, but I mean, I don't know. It just seems like breaking both of the guy's arms, one of them twice, is just, I mean, this is a little much. Like, have a fucking Snickers, God.
I will disperse the Egyptians among the nations and scatter them through the countries. I will strengthen the arms of the king of Babylon and put my sword in his hand. But I will break the arms of Pharaoh, and he will groan before him like a mortally wounded man. I will strengthen the arms of the king of Babylon, but the arms of Pharaoh will fall limp. They will know that I am the Lord when I put my sword into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he brandishes it against Egypt. I will disperse the Egyptians among the nations and scatter them through the countries. Then they will know that I am Lord. Okay, so that's the whole judgment against Pharaoh.
You know, I still contest that unless God actually shows up to do this shit instead of commanding somebody to do it or having somebody else do it, if God isn't in his Zeus toga doing this, nobody's going to believe it's him.
Well, there's no way to confirm that it's him doing it. He can just say, I'm going to do this thing. And whether it happens or it doesn't, even if it does happen, you can't confirm that he did it.
Exactly.
Other than, I guess they'll say, well, he said it was going to happen and it did. So obviously, I mean, I can say it's going to rain outside and it does. That doesn't mean I fucking made it rain. All right. So we have this like weird comparison. God feels the need to compare the fall of Egypt to the fall of Assyria. So in the 11th year, in the 3rd month, on the 1st day, the word of the Lord came to me, Ezekiel. Son of man, say to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and to his hordes, who can be compared with you in majesty? Consider Assyria, once a cedar in Lebanon, like the tree, cedar, with beautiful branches overshadowing the forest. It towered on high, its top above the thick foliage. The waters nourished it. Deep springs made it grow tall. The streams flowed all around its base and sent their channels to all the trees of the field. So it towered higher than all the trees of the field. Its boughs increased and its branches grew long, spreading because of abundant waters. All the birds of the sky nested in its boughs. All the animals of the wild gave birth under its branches. All the nations lived in its shade. It was majestic in beauty with its spreading boughs, for its roots went down to abundant waters. The cedars in the garden of God could not rival it, nor could the junipers equal its boughs, nor could the plane trees compare with its branches. No tree in the garden of God could match its beauty. I made it beautiful with abundant branches, the envy of all trees of Eden in the garden of God. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Because the great cedar towered over the thick foliage, and because it was proud of its height, I gave it to the hands of the ruler of the nations, for him to deal with according to its wickedness. I cast it aside, and the most ruthless of foreign nations cut it down and left it. Its boughs fell on the mountains and in all the valleys. Its branches lay broken in all the ravines of the land. All the nations of the earth came out from under its shade and left it. All the birds settled on the fallen tree, and all the wild animals lived among its branches. Therefore no other trees by the waters are ever to tower proudly on high, lifting their tops above the thick foliage. No other trees so well watered are ever to reach such a height. They are all destined for death, for the earth below, among mortals who go down to the realm of the dead. This is what the sovereign Lord says. On the day it was brought down to the realm of the dead, I covered the deep springs with mourning for it. I held back its streams, and its abundant waters were restrained. Because of it, I clothed Lebanon with gloom, and all the trees of the field withered away. I made the nations tremble at the sound of the fall when I brought it down to the realm of the dead to be with those who go down to the pit. Then all the trees of Eden, the choicest and best of Lebanon, the well-watered trees, were consoled in the earth below. They too, like the great cedar, had gone down to the realm of the dead, to those killed by the sword, along with the armed men who lived in its shade among the nations. Which of the trees of Eden can be compared with you in splendor and majesty? Yet you too will be brought down with the trees of Eden to the earth below. You will lie among the uncircumcised with those killed by the sword. This is Pharaoh and all his hordes, declares the sovereign Lord.
Yeah, so interesting thing to point out here is that like heaven and hell, or well, I guess the celestial planes, like hell, Hades, realm of the dead,
right?
These were physical places to the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like the firmament was a physical thing in the sky, right, that held back the waters of the heavens or whatever in the fuck. Like the celestial realm, like just beyond the firmament, was a physical place. Like that's the entire reason why you had the Tower of Babel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were trying to build up to the firmament so that they could get to the celestial realm. Well, God is describing here the realm of the dead, or I guess what you could call like hell for the Jews, except it's not just hell. Like this is just where all the dead people go. See, in actual like in Jewish theology, there's actually the realm of the dead's divided up into two sections. You got the ones that God doesn't like, who don't worship him and suck his dick. You got that area.
The Atheists.
Right. And then you've got like those that God prefers, or the ones that worship him or acknowledge him or whatever.
Gotcha.
And that's like kind of, think about it like two neighborhoods. You got the really rich high-end neighborhood, and then you got the plebe neighborhood.
On the other side of the tracks.
On the other side of the tracks. And so this was a physical place to them that you could, like, if you could climb inside of the earth, that's where you would go. And so I just wanted to kind of contextualize with how the Jews thought about these celestial places. That this most likely isn't, while God is talking like not in a very real sense, as in it's happening right now,
Right.
but that is what God has done to these people.
Well,
right?
I think what he's saying is that like Assyria was spread far and wide, and they ruled over so much, and they were such a awesome, I don't want to call them necessarily a kingdom, nation. They were such an awesome nation that protected and was over everyone, and that that God gave them over to their enemies, and they were brought down. And so he's basically comparing that situation to what's going to happen to Egypt, what he's going to do to Egypt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I got the metaphor of how he was comparing it to the tree. I just meant, I don't want people to think that God was speaking metaphorically about
these places,
the places of like the realm of the dead.
Right.
Right. God's going to literally put them there,
Right.
into the realm of the dead. Except he's got to be all poetic and everything about it. I guess we should snap isn't that what they do in poetry readings? Like, snap your fingers?
Snaps. Yeah.
Snaps.
Well, so I do think it's interesting because you kind of separated the neighborhoods, the high end neighborhood and the one across the tracks, and you just keep in mind that there's one neighborhood where all their dicks are cut, and there's another neighborhood where they're not.
Right.
He doesn't like the neighborhood where they're not.
Right.
So that's where he's going to send all these people.
Uh-huh.
So that's actually the end of the Bible study, but I do want to mention that Christian apologists will and have, and even in this book, claim that this prophecy against Egypt was fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
And they claim that because 60 years after this prophecy, in 525 BCE, during the reign of Pharaoh Amasis, Egypt was made part of the Persian Empire under Cambyses II. Cambyses, I'm not sure exactly how to say his name, but it's interesting because in the prophecy, he doesn't say exactly when it's going to happen. So it could be 60 years. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that, except God says that he is going to bring Egypt down with Nebuchadnezzar and his Babylonian army. That is not what happens.
Oh, shit. Really?
Well, so they're using this where Egypt became part of the Persian Empire. Again, it's still, Egypt isn't destroyed. Egypt is not desolate for 40 years. That never happens. But they're using this idea that Egypt lost power over themselves. They became part of another nation. They use this as a fulfillment of that prophecy, but it doesn't actually fulfill the prophecy at all.
Right.
So I want to kind of point that out, that they very loosely tie. Well, they don't loosely tie it. It's incredibly loosely tied, as in it doesn't fit the prophecy at all. But that's what they say, that this was fulfilled by the fact that they became part of the Persian Empire.
Yeah, and I don't think Nebuchadnezzar was part of the
60
Persian.
years later, no.
Right.
No, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying I don't necessarily have a problem with the timeline, except
it's not the prophecy.
It's not the prophecy. And the thing is that if he had just said Babylon would bring Egypt down, that wouldn't necessarily give me any kind of issue with the timeline, the 60 years later. But he literally says Nebuchadnezzar. And it's not Nebuchadnezzar. So it can't be 60 years later. This cannot, this fall of Egypt, where they became part of the Persian Empire and were ruled by someone else, cannot be the fulfillment of that prophecy.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, that's all for this week's. Next week, we're gonna continue with Ezekiel, right? And we're gonna have more judgments against places. We're gonna have a judgment against Tyre. And he's like really big. This was clearly written in the time of Nebuchadnezzar, and the fact that it's more specific actually hurts them a little bit. It hurts the reliability of it, because these things don't happen like they say.
Yeah, I've got to binge watch or binge listen to Dr. Josh on the prophecy of Tyre, because he's done a lot of content about that particular prophecy.
That would be a good thing to watch this week before we do this. So we have judgment against Tyre, and he's gonna judge Tyre, but then he's gonna lament over it, right? So we're gonna have another bitch fit. We're gonna talk about all the different places in Tyre. I mean, this is long. We're gonna have a judgment against Tyre's king. And how the king is, his rule is Satan-like.
Ooh.
We're also going to get a judgment against Sidon. So that's where we're going to be next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, we'd love to hear what you guys think about today's Bible study. Just go down below in the comment section. Let us know what you think about God's mind fuckery that he's played, that he's done in this Bible study today. We'd love to hear y'all's takes on that, or read y'all's takes on that. While you're down there, why don't you all smash that like button and subscribe if you like reading the Bible.
And don't.
I don't know who likes reading the Bible, but you might.
I mean, we're enjoying it.
I mean, yeah, I'm enjoying it and enjoying doing it with you. So
yeah,
I can only imagine everybody else loves it too.
Well, in the meantime, don't forget to stand up and use your voice.
Bye, heathens.
Bye, y'all.